This is a run-in with the law. Now, you may or may not remember a little show we did before this show called Midnight Gamers.
Oh, God, yes. That was amazing.
Now, this was a situation where Nick and I, with another friend, Matt Biard, stuck a bunch of video game equipment and a television in the trunk of my car.
The original Xbox One.
The original Xbox One. The Xbox.
The first Xbox One. I feel like that's what it's supposed to be called.
Something like that.
One of the first Xbox.
Xbox Prime. And so we would stuff this stuff into the trunk of my 1992 Plymouth Laser.
Now, there was an Xbox.
Yeah.
There was
Lasers.
some controllers.
Yeah, controllers.
There
and
was
a TV.
a laser,
Yeah.
for sure. But what you're missing is, where did we get that TV? Do you remember?
Oh, shoot, I thought it was from your place.
It wasn't.
Where'd that
Biard
TV?
had a side lady friend, and you drove to her apartment, and he went upstairs
And stole her
came
TV
back
from
down
Paula?
20 minutes later with a little TV in his hands.
20 minutes later, I don't remember that detail.
We didn't talk about what he had to do to get this TV, but he did have to bring it back later.
Yes, that's true. So we borrowed a TV by dubious methods, and hooked it all up into the back of my car so that I could just lift the trunk opener thing, the hatch back, I guess, and we just need to find a power source so that we could play video games. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this was basically because your parents were like, we don't want your friends making noise in our basement that late. Get out.
Yeah.
And so we did.
You make too much ruckus when you play Xbox.
Yeah. And so we did, and we did. And so we did, and we found like a warehouse's storage, not storage, shipping entrance.
Yeah.
And it had an outlet, and that's all we needed. So we plugged in, and we booted up the Warriors video game for the Xbox.
No, they had a bunch of skids out.
Yeah.
Empty wooden pallets.
Yeah.
And so we took the stuff out of your car and we set up a whole setup on the skids. And then we used one as a little bench for us. Mm-hmm. And it was actually like a nice little wooden living room situation.
Yeah, basically
it was
we
sweet.
turned someone's loading dock into our temporary living room so we could play video games without bothering Nick's parents. And what I remember from that video game is that, 1, to get money, you had to steal car radios.
Yes.
2, to get health, you had to buy and take drugs.
Yes.
And 3, that one character had a hat, and every other character was willing to fight that character for the hat.
No, that was something you brought into it. That was a little twist you brought into it. But yes, you had a hat, and as soon as you got punched in the face, the hat would fall off. And if you were standing on the hat, the punch button turned into the pick up hat and put on your head button. So we would stop fighting the other guys and fight each other for the hat.
As far as I can tell, that's what the plot of the Warriors was.
The original draft.
Everybody just wanted hats, and they were after those baseball dudes because they all had the baseball caps.
Oh, that makes sense. They did all have hats.
Huh.
And so we didn't accomplish very much in that game. I feel like I got the hat, I died. You got the hat, you died. We were really focused on the hat and not any objectives of the game.
Speaking of being focused, we also made a very clear mistake in our whole setup, which was that this whole place was on the side of a highway with just hundreds and hundreds of people driving by and seeing us do this at midnight.
I guess that's a good point. I didn't consider then, nor up until now, that so many people passing by wouldn't just ignore a faint, distant light. But it was kind of odd to see, I imagine. So, after not very long, we stole a hat, Nick stole a hat, Matt stole a hat, I got the hat back, the police showed up. And so...
In life, not the game.
That's correct. In real life, the police showed up.
Yeah, there was no law in the Warriors.
No, it's pretty much
only
a
the
world
law
of
you
no
make for
law.
yourself.
Yeah. The law of hats, and and so the police basically said, "What are you guys doing? Get out of here!" Like they weren't really ready to write a ticket or really scold us. They were just like, "This is so absurd."
Wait, you don't remember they asked to watch us play just so that they could confirm that, in fact, that's what we were doing, because they thought this was just an elaborate cover for us doing something else. So they were like, so you're saying you plugged this in and it functions and you were playing,
and that's all you're
can
doing.
you prove that? They were like, yeah.
That's true, because as soon as they
this out.
showed up, we were like, let's unplug it, and I guess that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had to prove that we were actually doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
Because it was the least worst thing we could have been doing.
Yep, exactly. And so once we were shooed away by the police, who had realized that we were super innocent people, really just needing to play a video game together and not wake up Mr. and Mrs. Drapeau.
Well, you were stealing electrical
We were
power.
stealing
Okay.
a pretty negligible
let me
amount
settle
of electricity.
this. Let me settle this. Do you have Hydro-Quebec bills here? Or is that paid?
No, I think I
That's paid
already
for you?
recycled them, yeah. No, I pay it myself.
You
but
pay it yourself?
I don't have the bill
We're
leaving.
talking pennies.
Yeah, pennies.
We're talking pennies here.
For a business, though, pennies, that adds up. How many kids do you think are plugging in late at night? Just going
What's
to the
the
warehouse
value
and
of the
plugging in?
lesson of, hey, don't leave your outlets available to kids, idiots?
Yeah, I guess if
That's
you don't,
$1 million lesson that we gave for free.
They can just go to the breaker box and turn it off at the end
That's
of the night.
true.
And their outside power is just unavailable.
And they probably do that now. You're frickin' welcome.
Millions saved over the years. All those kids playing video games in the loading docks. It's so much money that they save.
A
And
thing
we
of the
want a
past.
taste.
See, now the thing is about this, we were eventually shooed away by the police. But were we deterred? We were not. We then found a parking lot that had a power, or in its big lights, it had a power outlet.
Super C.
Back of a Super C, was that what it was?
Oh, yeah.
And we continued playing for not that long.
They had picnic tables.
Yeah, it was a good setup for us.
Yeah, because that kind of created nice little stadium seating where Biard was sitting on the table itself. We were sitting on the bench. Everybody had a great view of the 15-inch TV.
That's right. That's right. And I feel like we didn't play that much longer. Like, once we got caught, we had anxiety issues.
I see, for me, it was very much the opposite because this area of the Super C was so secluded that it was almost a guarantee that you wouldn't get caught. And once you get caught doing something wrong, you're kind of like, I like that.
Ooh.
You know? And then you're playing the Warriors, and it's like, yeah, you're punching me, you're stealing my hat. I'm stealing a car radio to go pay for some flash, which was the drug.
Okay.
And I was kind of like, but why? If I'm not going to get caught, what's the point? Just bring me home and I'm going to go to bed.
I mean, it sounds like you're a sicko, and this was a turn-on for you. Like, all right, Nick, and this is how you get your jollies? Playing out of a trunk of a car until the police show up?
It's the closest I've ever come to being in trouble for anything ever.
I was really hoping you were going to say this is the closest I've ever come to jollies, but...
I'm not like you, who's involved in a whole kidnapping situation.
Well, you know, it was a one-off deal. No charges were laid.
Not on the
Clean
Midnight
record.
Gamers issue.
Clean record, that's right, clean record. I always sneak away by the skin of my teeth.
But Nick, you've got a fetish for doing illegal things, stealing juice from Super C's, stealing juice from warehouses. You want to get caught by your parents being too loud playing video games. Now you moved on. You want to get caught by the cops. Where do you go from there?
What's next?
Yeah.
Getting audited?
What's next in my crazy rampage?
Yeah. I want to know what Nicholas.
Well, I
I want
got
to know what Nick does now.
so I got caught trying to steal a second free movie at the movie theaters. So that didn't work out for me.
What happened?
Explain that situation.
Yeah.
Well, I went to see a movie that I completely do not remember at all. And then I was like, hey, that was no good. Let's go see another one, because I already paid my $9.95, which in hindsight is nothing. Prices now are crazy. You should look into that. But I got caught on my way into the doors of Cinema 13. The guy said, hey, sir, do you mind if I see your ticket? And I said, no. And I left.
So
That
you
was the
didn't
end of
mind.
What's that?
You did not mind if he could see your ticket.
I did not mind that he would see the ticket, but I think he would have minded that there was no ticket to see.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember the movie that you didn't get to go see?
Oh, gosh. No, you got to understand, when I'm in, like, primal alpha dog criminal mindset, I don't make long-term memories.
It's
just fight or flight all the time.
You're
fight
too
or
busy
flight.
getting your jollies off. You're distracted.
You didn't even care what movie. You wouldn't even remember. You'd be just sitting there shaking,
Yeah.
jittery.
I was in there screaming some other movie's name.
In some strange ecstasy of deviousness.
Feel like Robert De Niro in Cape Fear. Just hoping to get caught. Just waiting for someone to come in.
By the way, that's another trend of this show for long-time listeners. You licking the sauce off of your plate, and you avoiding commitments.
That's true. That is a thing that Nick and I have dealt with, me avoiding even the smallest of commitments. I feel like there was one time when we were in a car and you wanted me to like roll down the window to ask directions, and that was too big of a commitment. Once I engaged other people in another vehicle, and now we're talking.
You don't have time for that kind of a long-term commitment.
Exactly. I can't have like a several-second conversation now.
Possibly even 20 seconds.
Who knows where this will lead? Next thing you know, I'm someone's godfather. I'm babysitting the kids. How did this happen?
And those parents die, so now you get the kid.
It's because I committed to rolling down the window.
Yeah, definitely.
But a snowball effect.
So where do you think this fear of commitment comes from?
It's a good
What
question.
happened in 1987 with Dic and Ann that made you so afraid of commitment? Did they promise you burgers and then they threw out 1,300 in front of you?
They asked me to eat all 1,306 burgers, and I couldn't. I committed to doing it, and I just wasn't able to. And now I don't want to let people down like that anymore. After I saw the tears in Anne's eyes and the perturbed look on Dick's face.
So you swore to that goat god
And so
that you would never commit to anything ever
I turned to the
again.
goat god, and I said, God, save me from commitment for the rest of my life, because my stomach is so full of burgers. I am but a 1-year-old. How did these grown-ups ever think I could eat 1,300 burgers? And to this day, I cannot commit to eating more than 4 burgers in one sitting.
That's tragic.
Double burgers count as 1 burger, though. Just for the record, yeah.
By the way, do you want some behind-the-scenes information on your fear of commitment?
Sure.
This is just between us three and the thousands of listeners, clearly. So, Kavita, my wife,
Yes.
was sort of organizing the trip, so to speak. I was driving on Friday, and during the drive, she was texting and phoning different people to organize what we would do on different days. And she reaches out to you to say, hey, such and such a day, does that work for you? Maybe we could do this, maybe we could do that. And she's doing it back and forth with you for a bit.
Sure.
Did you notice that at some point in that text thread, she stopped texting you, and I started texting you?
It felt it felt very fluid.
Good, because that's what I was going for.
Yeah, it was all one big conversation. I figured you guys were communicating between yourselves.
I wanted it to feel natural for you.
Yeah, it was a good transition.
She needed to tag me in because I speak Seba a little better.
Sure.
Because you'd be presented with options like, would you like to do option A or would you like to do option B? And your response, in your very jovial way, would have been, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes a guy in a car coming from Ontario go, yeah, but what am I doing?
No, any of the above is the answer. What do you want to be doing? And I mean, ultimately, I felt like no options were presented to me, other than like Monday and Tuesday.
Good. Oh yeah, that's what she tagged me in because I, decade of experience.
Yes,
so
okay.
I go, okay, what are the things? All right, next text is awesome. We are doing A of the first choice. We are doing B of the other choice, and then we're going to wrap it up with A on that third thing. And then you text back, awesome.
Or like sounds good or something like that.
Yeah.
But what were those choices? Because I feel like we didn't do any of them.
Oh, but